What is going on, everybody? My name is Kneeckoh, and welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC video. Today, we're going to be talking about moveset for the new Ursaluna form, Blood Moon Ursaluna. This Pokemon's actually really crazy. It's so good. Its ability is phenomenal. It is something you need to keep your eye on as far as Trick Room teams go. So, if this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you are subbed for more videos like this in the future, but let's get into it. So, Blood Moon Ursaluna is the new Ursaluna form. Like I said, you can only acquire one of them throughout your playthrough. So if you have both games and you bought the DLC for both, you can get a couple of them, but they are incredibly rare, but they are incredibly powerful. So the ability is what makes this Pokemon so good. So basically it gets scrappy, right? Fighting in normal moves hit ghost type Pokemon, which is absolutely insane, but it also can't have its accuracy lower, and it ignores evasiveness, which is also really solid when you look at something that just came into the game like Diplin. Diplin is crazy, so definitely a really powerful Pokemon to have in form of just ignoring the evasiveness and stuff of other Pokemon and accuracy. It's just very, very solid. So I like Ursaluna a lot. It's just really good because of the fact that it is a special attacker, which makes it really powerful as a Terra normal type. This is something that you're going to see a lot of on this particular Pokemon because it has Throat Spray with Hyper Voice. Stab, Hyper Voice with Throat Spray is absolutely insane. You're going to get that boost from your Throat Spray, and then you can start going in with Earth Powers and Blood Moon. Now, Blood Moon is also a very powerful move. It is basically Gigaton Hammer, but normal type, right? You can't use the move twice in a row, which makes sense because it is a 140 base power move with 100% accuracy. Absolutely insane how strong this particular Pokemon is. But because of this, you just dish out so much damage, but your speed stat is mediocre at best, right? So you have 113 HP, 120 defense, 135 special attack, and special defense of 65. So not a great special defense stat, but your speed is 52. So this is still a Trick Room Pokemon, much like base Ursaluna is. So the second version I've seen running around is Ursaluna with an Assault Vest, and I think this is a solid way to play this Pokemon, okay? So you have Fairy Terra typing here that gets rid of your weakness to your, in particular, your fighting type weakness. Really big for this Pokemon. You still have Hyper Voice here. You have Earth Power. Just for spread move, you have Hyper Voice. You have Earth Power, Blood Moon, and then Moon Blast is another valuable tool that this Pokemon has, which really will benefit from the Fairy Terra typing, excuse me. And it just makes this very, very solid. So I have 252 HP on this, 204 special attack, and 52 special defense here with a calm nature. You could run modest nature on this, but I just really like the extra special defense that you're getting out of this. This is another really powerful way to play the Pokemon. I do think like you could run choice specs, but I don't think it gets enough as far as special attacks go to make it incredibly worthwhile. So that is just something to note. This does have the ability to, you know, do Earth Power shenanigans and choice spec stuff, but I just don't think that like it's super valuable because for one, Blood Moon can only be used one turn in succession, so you have to wait, which makes it that much worse when you're running a choice specs item or something to that effect. So I don't think it's the best item to run on this particular Pokemon, but Pokemon you're going to want to pair this with. For one, I definitely think that, like, obviously you think of Cresselia as a form of Trick Room setter. I think Cresselia is really solid. You get things like Ally Switch, all that fun stuff that Cresselia has been doing since the start of Regulation D. I think it's very, very good as a partner for this. Actually, the Pokemon that has surprised many of us is Sinistcha. I think Sinistcha is super, super solid. Very powerful Pokemon. You have Hospitality and you also have Heat Proof. I think both of these are fine options, but I think Hospitality is just better. And this thing does get access to Trick Room, which is super cool. Its signature move is really solid with Machagacha, so you're able to potentially burn the opposing Pokemon, but also recover 50% of the damage dealt. And it is a spread move, which is absolutely crazy. So you're getting a ton of health regeneration with this particular Pokemon. Sinistcha is crazy because it also has a really high special attack stat. I really, really like this particular Pokemon. You also get a lot of other useful tools like Rage Powder, which is solid. It does get access to Scald. I think Machagacha is just better in that regard, but you also get access to Strength Sap. So you have a lot of options to weaken the opposing Pokemon and also make Ursaluna just a better Pokemon, because you can sit there and Rage Powder in front of stuff, and it's just that solid as a partner. So I think that's really good. I think a Rangaroo is also a really fun option for this Pokemon. I've seen some people even going as far as to run Ursaluna Blood Moon with like a weakness Paw. and then running like Brick Break or something on a Rangaroo and then Instruct and just like powering through stuff with this Pokemon as your Trick Room Pokemon. I think it's pretty fun. It's not as commonly seen as something like Sinistcha or Cresselia, but it is a fun off-meta option for this particular setup. And I do think you can get away with like Armor Rouge and Aditi stuff with this Pokemon as well, as Trick Room Pokemon. So you get the Trick Room set up, and then eventually one of these two Pokemon goes down. You're able to swap in Ursaluna and start running the show. I think those are solid options as well. You do have to consider Pokemon that this does not play fantastically into. Specifically looking at Pokemon that are going to hit this really hard, I think Iron Hands is a problem. That's why I think the Terra Fairy is really nice. Iron Hands can be a problem, but if you have Terra Fairy, you kind of counter that Iron Hands really effectively. So I do think that Terra Fairy is really solid for this particular Pokemon because of threats like Iron Hands. Other things, obviously Urshifu is a problem. Both Urshifu can hit this very, very hard. Again, the Terra Fairy is really cool for this particular reason, so it is something to note in that regard. Other things, Rillaboom can hit this very hard. Any grass type is going to hit this hard. Like Sinistcha is honestly fairly good into this Pokemon. So definitely some things to think about. You got your grass weaknesses, you got your water weaknesses, you've got things like fighting type weaknesses. So you have to be aware of those particular Pokemon. I think that these are like the big threats that you're going to see going into matchups with Ursaluna. Other Pokemon that don't like this, honestly, like Fluttermane does have a hard time because you can't hit it with your normal type stabs. That's actually really crazy and really solid, especially under Trick Room. You're going to be able to handle Fluttermane very effectively with this Pokemon, and I really like it for that reason. Other Pokemon that just don't, anything that takes normal damage from a normal type attack is going to not like this Pokemon because it hits like a truck. So obviously like your rock types and your steel types are going to be fine into this, but everything else is going to get hit very, very hard by this Ursaluna. So it is just a very powerful Pokemon all around, and that ability is just crazy. Being able to hit those normal type moves into ghost type Pokemon is so valuable, especially considering the number of ghost type Pokemon in the format with like Fluttermane, Goldango, looking at other things like Sinistcha that's now very popular. Like very, very valid options as far as like hitting things hard regardless of their type with this Pokemon. But that is going to be it. I think it's incredibly solid. A lot of Pokemon to run this with. It's going to be very, very popular on Trick Room teams going into Regulation E, and it's definitely something you need to keep your eye on. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Which Ursaluna do you prefer? I really like this one. I'm going to be honest. I like base Ursaluna, but this one, first off, the design is phenomenal. The ability is phenomenal. It's just a really fun Pokemon to use, and you don't have to worry about things like Intimidate and other like debuffs of that nature. There's a lot less of that going around for special attackers, which is incredibly solid. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and sub for more videos like this in the future. Also be sure to check out the Discord. People over there hanging out playing Pokemon all the time. And if you want to see anything else from me, check out any of the videos that you see here on screen. But until next time, peace.